morning, good afternoon, good evening. Oh man, last night I witnessed I can't even begin to describe it. Like, I was gonna say an absolutely phenomenal sunset, but I didn't even know if that describes it. Honestly, it was just mind-blowing. There were two banks of cloud that really layered upon each other. There was the middle cloud and then there was a high cloud, and the middle cloud, when it was burning, you know, there was a big gap on the horizon. When that began to burn, it just really went for it. And then about 5 minutes later, the same tones began to really become engulfed within these high clouds, and it was phenomenal. It lasted over 30 minutes. So I was shooting for about an hour in total for sunset. That's unheard of, you know. I had a sunset shoot probably about 2 weeks ago up in a similar area, and in its own right it was very unique, similar in ways, but there was something about last night that was just so different. Maybe it was that contrast between what had kind of come throughout the day, but man, I'm gonna leave you to it so you can kind of have a look at what was unfolding, and then we're gonna come back and chat about it. But that really was something special for me, you know. I do say that frequently with some of the shoots that I have, but there are experiences that really do stick with you. That was at a location that I've gone back to frequently, and I've always envisioned something along those lines. Whether I got the images, maybe not, but being able to be amongst that and experience something that incredibly beautiful, it's like nothing else. And that's what I really live for, you know. It's just mind-blowing. So I'm gonna leave you to it. You can kind of, you know, I only filmed for the beginning area of it, in the beginning period. I will go through, show you some images of the final product, but man, you know, speechless. Enjoy. All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We have got a bloody beautiful sunset. This is one of those experiences that really does stick with you, I'm not gonna lie. There is so much potential blooming. We've had a very, very heavy downpour come through. The storm that arrived at about 4 o'clock this afternoon was just savage. So what's actually unfolding here is just, there is a gap on the horizon, there's a lot of middle cloud around, there's a little bit of high cloud above, and there's just this amphitheater that's really gonna glow. And honestly, the sun's starting to come through now. It's gonna be absolutely phenomenal. I'm so damn glad that I'm out where I am. Oh man, I've come out here quite a few times, I'm not gonna lie, and it's really something different. It's very unique. You know, this is the vineyards. I've definitely spent quite a fair amount of time around this area, but there's honestly something about it every time that I just really, really love. It captivates me, and being able to connect with that kind of agricultural lifestyle, but also represented in a manner that's truly complementary to it, that's something that really resonates with me, and I feel that it's something that I can offer, you know, it's something that I can shine a little bit of light onto. And when you get conditions like this, man, nothing matches that. It is just so, so special, so unique. Honestly, I haven't shot out here with conditions this good, alright, other than like a week ago, probably in about 6 months. Last week I got a phenomenal show. Really very, very gorgeous. Similar to this, but more high cloud, just a bunch of different banks of stratus cloud that really ended up blooming and blossoming, and man, it was absolutely gorgeous. So I think this is going to be very similar. It's going to have its differences, you know, everything is very unique about it. It's also unpredictable. Realistically, I wasn't sure whether this was going to unfold, especially when it was storming, but as it rolled through, I had high hopes and there was a little bit of potential. So I'm going to see what I can do here. Hopefully I'm going to take you on the journey. You're going to be able to see a little bit. If I do get a bit caught up, you're going to at least see the final product. You know, it's one of those times where I really do want to utilize these conditions to the best of my ability, making and creating an image that is really going to be encompassing the entirety of what's going to be represented here. So we've got a rainbow now that's starting to form. Man, nothing matches this. It really doesn't. Like, you can see the smile on my face. This is what I live for. When I do this kind of thing, yes, it's very unpredictable. You'll get those times where it just doesn't unfold, and that may happen consistently, but when you have persistence, it doesn't matter, because you know you're going to be out there when it does unfold. And that is exactly what has happened here. So, oh man, I'm going to see what I can do. Hopefully it does all align, but man, I'm just going to make the most of it either way. Truly, yeah, in awe of the beauty of nature. Phenomenal. So when it came down to it, I was looking through the images last night, and the current lens that I have, I'm using a 17-40 wide angle lens. It's, let's just say it's had quite a bit of use. It's not in the best shape whatsoever. The focus is very dull, it's not sharp like it should be, and the focus actually misses quite frequently. It doesn't actually go off what the reading is. So you constantly have to be checking up on it, which makes it very, very difficult. So unfortunately, you know, that's just another thing that you've got to take into account when you are in the field. Personally, I don't believe I really framed some of the images as well as I should have. There were just a few details that I guess I didn't really note because I was so consumed by what was actually around me, and it was difficult to really focus in and be able to capture something that truly was going to be complementary of every single element. But that challenge is very, very rewarding. You know, it's exhilarating. You've kind of just got to take it on board. Like, there were 3 locations that I wanted to shoot. There was one up the top, one in the middle, which was kind of having these rows of vineyards going straight through, and then there was another one that I've also always wanted to shoot. And that's kind of looking up towards the vineyards, and it's this big hill that goes up. That was very challenging because I hadn't shot there before. That was where I went for the final kind of shoot. And I thought, because of the way the wind was hitting, that wouldn't be too impacted, so I'd be able to get some long exposures, shoot there, hopefully be able to get something that was going to be a little bit sharper. And when it came down to it, you know, the results, they're not bad. I got quite a few frames that are going to be definitely utilized in the future, there's no doubt about that, but I feel like, you know, in those situations there is so much to take on board, and you don't know how you're going to perform until it actually does evolve. So you've got to kind of train yourself. This is why it's great to go out there and just shoot as much as you possibly can, because you don't want to go out there in those situations and just, you know, lose track of yourself. Like, I personally, I'm getting better, there's no doubt about that, like doing it for how long I have been doing it, but I know within myself that there's still a level of improvement that needs to be kind of, you know, embedded within those experiences. And I've got to be able to consistently keep my mind focused on what it is that I'm doing, what the outcome is, and each of the different details along the way, because you don't want to get home and then realize, you know, your aperture was off, your ISO was off, you know, your shutter speed wasn't great for what was actually within the frame, you know, you kept it open for too long when there was something moving throughout it. There was a couple of frames that were like that, you know, and just basic things like that. And focus, you know, focus is a very frustrating thing, especially when you're using a wide angle lens. The functions on my camera, they don't work so well, so it's a bit challenging, but I love the challenge, you know, I really do, and I put myself up for it, there's no doubt about that. But that experience in itself, it was just something that was really, really very special for me. You know, shooting up around the Hunter Valley region, it's offered me so much. It's really allowed me to reconnect with a few of the I guess you could say, as well as the agricultural side of things, and, you know, that kind of country lifestyle, if you want to call it that. It's also allowed me to really focus on a few of the different elements within photography that I have kind of not disregarded for a while, but I haven't really forced myself to develop. You know, having, like, even now I'm around the ocean, you know, that's what I'm always gravitating back towards, but that's when I start to utilize the dynamism within that element you know, utilizing the long exposure so that I can use that to lead throughout the frame. But without that, you've really got to think in a different kind of way, and I've really enjoyed that challenge because compositionally it does allow you to actually see things in a different way. You know, it's extremely different from shooting a seascape, and that's why it's so rewarding. You know, that's why I think it's great to be shooting as much as you possibly can. Don't, you know, if you want to put yourself in a specialized category, for sure, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't pigeonhole yourself to the point where you're not exercising your creativity in multiple different avenues and different realms, because the actual practice of going out there and creating in different circumstances with different conditions, it is essential, and it really does build a lot of different skills. You know, it builds up your flexibility, but it builds up that kind of aspect of being able to go into situations, read it, and then produce something no matter what is actually presented in front of you. And I think that's a very, very powerful skill to have. You know, if you want to go into any other field of photography, they're the kind of skills that you really do want to have on board. You don't just want to be in there and think, this is exactly what I need to do, you know, and then something doesn't unfold and you think, all right, I'm stuffed, I can't do it. You know, you want to kind of have that flexibility. You want to work with what's available. And that's what I believe is a very, very often misunderstood element within photography. You know, I disregarded it for a long time, but I'm starting to recognize the importance of it, putting myself outside of my comfort zone to see what I really can do. And, you know, it is important. It's important to try different things. It's important to go outside of that comfort zone and see what you really can do. You know, it's a remarkable medium in itself. You know, I say that frequently, but there's so much available to you, and if you just pigeonhole yourself into one thing, you're limiting yourself, you know. And I know within myself, you know, I've shot landscapes, I've shot seascapes for the vast majority of my career, whatever you want to call it, you know, my time behind the lens. So going out there and doing different things more recently than ever, you know, I've been pushing those boundaries, seeing what I can do, and it's been very rewarding. It's offered me a ton, so I really want to be able to, you know, offer you the chance to go out there and do that, see what you can do, see what you're capable of, because you never really know, but it's always worth giving a go. You know, it doesn't mean that you have to stick with it, but challenge yourself. Be okay with potential failure, because that only means that you can just build from there and you can only get better. That's essential to recognize. That mentality shift, man, it's going to open up opportunities and doors that you would never even consider before opening that perspective. So give it a go, see what it does for you. But I do appreciate your time, and I will most definitely catch you on the flip side. I will leave some images as well here so you can check out what kind of unfolded. I'll go with one that was just a base perspective from the first location, second location, and two from the third location. I may go two from the first as well so you can see it unfolding, but man, like that would have been a perfect situation to also set up a time lapse. Unfortunately, one of my cameras has died, so I don't actually have that available to me at the moment. But for the future, you know, I'm definitely going to be incorporating that within my workflow. It's something that I've really wanted to work on for so long, and again, it's another strength to add to those. So yeah,